A YouTube star has avoided jail for grooming a 13-year-old girl for sex. Marcus Dibble was planning on meeting up with the girl before her mother intervened.
Today, the disgraced YouTube star was silent after being sentenced for grooming a 13-year-old girl for sex.
I don't even know how to start this video.
Oh, me neither, dude. This is a difficult video to start. I guess I'll start it by reading this headline. YouTube comedian Marcus Dibble registered as sex offender for grooming teenage girls. Here's how we could start it. This calls for a judge. This is a difficult video for me to make and one that I don't want to do, to be honest. And I am going to talk about some sensitive topics, what this guy did. So if you are sensitive to these things, I guess this is your content warning. Also, I'm going to tell a few jokes because that's the only way I know how to talk. But to be clear, this guy's disgusting and what he's done is terrible. And fuck that guy. So Marcus Dibble, who is a guy that I worked with, I wouldn't really call us friends. I mean, we did a video together many, many years ago, and we had a bit of a back and forth. I also did a podcast with him when I was in his state, and it's a real shame that I have to do this video at all. He has been found guilty. He pled guilty to grooming a 13-year-old girl and attempting to meet up with her at an Airbnb after messaging her back and forth for a really long time. And thank God her parents found out and stepped in. Good on them. And look after your kids online, to any parents watching, and look after yourself online as well, to any minors watching, because this one really made me go, oh, dude, it really is the people you know. You know, like people always say, oh, it's very rare when these sorts of terrible things happen or almost happen. It's very rare that it's some crazy insane person. Often it is just, you know, the guy you never suspected, and that's really terrible. And it's a shame that we could have had a predator in our community like this. And the reason I'm making this video now, I didn't make it earlier because I wanted the court case to finish. I wanted to see justice done, and I'm really upset with how this court case has concluded. Marcus Dibble, for attempting to meet up with a 13-year-old girl and pleading guilty to grooming her, the only punishment he got was being registered as a sex offender and 120 hours of community service, which, as a person who lives in this country, I'm like really disappointed in the justice system, because I don't see how you can attempt to meet up with a child to do God knows what. I think we all know. And all you get is the judge going, oh, pick up 10 papers. Like, that's some primary school shit, which I'm sure he would thoroughly enjoy. You know, I guess, 120 hours of community service, he really will be mopping for days, Dad.
Mopping for days, Dad?
I'm trying to put in a couple of jokes, but I am still pretty upset about this. This isn't some, like, miscommunication where, a mistake was made. This was intentional grooming. He knew her age. He said it was fine, and he tried to proceed with it anyway. He stayed at that Airbnb for 2 days waiting for her to show up. This is some premeditated evil shit, and I don't see how we can have someone like this walking around our community just picking up rubbish, and then they're free to do almost whatever they want. They just can't work with kids because they're a registered sex offender. I'm really disappointed in the justice system. But I guess what I am really happy to finally say, now that this has come out, I'm pretty sure he stole the Muzz thing from me. That's what I'm really pissed off about. I'm pretty sure he stole the Muzz thing from Pinger Pete.
Fucking way of life. This calls for a Muzz.
But that's why I'm making this video, because if our justice system isn't going to punish this guy for attempting to pull off one of the most heinous crimes there is, I'm at least going to try and make the dude famous for it. Marcus, you're disgusting. And if anyone ever catches this dude trying to start up any sort of entertainment or YouTube business, let me know and we'll sort it out. I mean, this guy made several videos calling out creepy photographers for taking advantage of people, then ends up doing it himself. He also made a bunch of videos calling out people for steroid use, and turns out the reason why he had such big titties is because he was jamming those needles in his arms. He even made workout guides on how to do a natural workout and avoid the use of steroids to get big. I mean, dude, it seems like if you complain about anything long enough, you become it. I guess that's going to make me a journalist for BuzzFeed, I suppose. This whole thing is just really gross to me, and even just how the news treated this. Like, that's why I'm trying to publicize this, because the news put all of these articles behind paywalls. So Marcus Dibble was, pleading guilty to this stuff, and a lot of people were wondering if the story was even true or not. So that's why I'm making this video, to let, the country know he's been convicted and he pled guilty to it. It's absolutely real. This is not a rumor. This is the truth. And it's terrible. But I guess, this is karma for maybe bullying mentally disabled people or teens until they commit suicide. Maybe this is a bit of a comeuppance for you. Actually, no, it's not really karma. It's probably the intentional grooming of a child, which is disgusting. I'm trying to make this video not me screaming at the camera. I'm a little bit angry. I hope you don't mind. And as for my videos with Marcus, I'm not going to take them down because I don't want to pretend that I never work with a guy. But I think what I am going to do with the big main channel video is I'm going to crop him out of it. I think I can edit him out of that video. So since this story has come out and I've talked about it on my podcast, I've had a few people message me saying that he's done similar things to them. Now, I'm not going to, say any details because they're not my stories to tell. But I will say this. If Marcus Dibble has done anything to you or attempted to do anything to you, please go to the police. Don't tell me. Don't tell your friends. Go to the police. Because, look, I'm not accusing the guy of anything because I don't want to get sued for anything. But I will say, if anything has happened to you, go to the police because they will listen after this. Channel 7 News, however, seems to be the only outlet covering this story. They actually camped outside the courtroom and we got to see how Marcus Dibble walks, which is a big red flag for me. Like, if I saw anyone walking like that, I'd be like, yeah, he's into some weird shit. Who walks like that? It looks like he's doing a walk, doesn't it? Very strange walk. When I met the dude, he was sitting down in a chair. If I saw him walk, I maybe would have deleted that podcast. But as weird as his walk is, perhaps the most shocking thing is this little clip from Susan McLean.
And it is so vitally important that parents are an active and involved participant in their child's online world. You cannot assume that the people they are engaging with are okay.
Dear God, I never would have thought after all these years that one day me and Susan would join forces and agree vehemently on the same issue. She's 100% right. Never thought I would say this. Susan McLean is 100% right. If you are a parent, you need to be an active participant in what your child does online. Thank God this kid's parents found out what was going on. Imagine what could have happened if they weren't. So I guess that's my advice as someone who is internet savvy. You need to monitor what your children are doing. You don't need to fucking, micromanage them and be terrified, but you do need to be aware of who they're talking to at the very least so that you can prevent things like this happening, like this girl's parents did. Good on them. And to any kids out there, just because influencers have a big YouTube channel or a big online following, it doesn't mean that we're saints, all right? And you need to be careful, okay? I know it's really, really cool when your favorite person responds to you or likes a photo or whatever. That stuff can be cool, but you do need to protect yourself and be wary. There is no reason for someone who's like 25 to be trying to meet up with a 13-year-old. There's no reason for it. Another brief thing that I want to just put in this video is the Percy Inglis situation. Now, I always thought Percy was hilarious. He was an obvious troll. He would make videos that were, just inflammatory, and he was playing a character, and he was trolling. Marcus either didn't know he was trolling or intentionally ignored the fact that it was comedy and instead decided to treat this kid as real, and I think went too far many occasions. And sent mobs of people after this kid. He ended up killing himself. And Marcus attempted to twist the story into those two being friends, and that they were in it together and they were creating this story together. Percy Inglis's own family commented on the posts made by Marcus, saying that they were friends, saying that they were not. So I don't think this guy was a good person at all. He would, regularly make videos bullying mentally disabled people. He sent mobs of people after this kid, and that ended in the worst way possible. And he's a predator if it couldn't get any fucking worse. So I'm really, really ashamed that I ever worked with a guy, and I'm disgusted that I was ever in the same room with the dude without doing something else. So yeah, fuck this guy. And I think it's very, very disappointing. But, Australia had been going pretty good without any online creators being predators. We were going pretty well there for a bit. Good 10 years almost since 2012. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. I guess we were due for it, Fuck, if he was playing Minecraft, that would have been a dead giveaway. Yeah, look, I'm sorry that this video wasn't very good, but this is just a terrible video to have to make. But I just really wanted to make it because I don't think the news has publicized this enough, and I also don't think that the punishment that Marcus Dibble got was severe enough. So if the news isn't going to publicize him properly as a predator, and the justice system isn't going to punish him properly for being a predator, I think that we, at the very least, can come together as a community and let the world know that this guy is a fucking predator, and we're not going to stand for it. All right? So, sorry, I hate this video, but I think it's important. Bye.